stood in front of the cameras and lied and lied and lied, because they never followed up their words for the media and the public. I was actually, maybe I'm naive, and I know that Pakistani politics can be complex, but I was actually shocked.
Recently, Rahman Malik, Pakistan minister, he has put up that request to United States to repatriate Aafia.
Well, he says he has, but let's see the letter.
So you're not even sure that they have, although officially made that public that they did put the letter, you are not even sure right now that they might be misleading the public?
I want to see the letter, and if he produces it, I would say, Mr. Malik, why didn't you write this letter 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago? Why now? I'll tell you why they're doing it now, because the people realize that a Muslim in the present climate cannot get justice in American courts today. And the people realize the only way that we're going to get her back is to demonstrate, to rally, to campaign. And when the people start to lead, the politicians have to follow, or they become irrelevant. Now,
why you think Pakistani government and the Pakistani top officials, what would they gain by not having Aafia back?
I don't know why they're afraid of this woman. She was never a political.
Do you think American government has been influencing these decisions on Pakistani government?
Well, the American government is a vindictive government. We've seen this with Guantanamo Bay. There's an English resident still in Guantanamo Bay called Shaka Armour, who was cleared for release 2 years ago, and he's still being held in Guantanamo for nothing more than the vindictive pursuit of the American government. It is a vindictive, petty government, which really is not the trademark of a superpower.
So you see no difference between Obama and ex-President Bush?
Oh, Obama is worse. He's intelligent, he's articulate, he is a great orator, he tells a good story, he can talk the talk, but he can't walk the walk.
So what do you think is the real crime of Dr. Aafia? Is it being an outstanding professional with Islamic scholarly background and thinking, or is there a possibility that she was offered a role to exploit Islam and Muslims or act as a proxy on the war on terror to which she refused?
Again, it would be purely speculation. It could be that she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There are about 800 men in the world today who are still wondering, how did I end up in Guantanamo? Moazzam Beg asks himself that question every day. What was my crime? Nobody knows. That there are, and we've just again found out that Donald Rumsfeld admitted that they knew that more than 90% of the people in Guantanamo were innocent.
So why you think then Americans are still holding Dr. Aafia, although she has not been charged with terrorism? Do you think the Americans feel that there is a chance Dr. Aafia might blow the cover of the American war on terror if she is released?
I think it was Sir Winston Churchill who said the Americans do everything wrong first and then eventually they get it right. I think that what will happen is that they will eventually release her. They're afraid. In America, everything is about money. Everything is about lawsuits. What everybody has forgotten in all of this is that Aafia Siddiqui is a Pakistani citizen. But 2 of her children are US citizens. And I think that the Americans are afraid because, they can, Islamophobia is so rife at the moment that it's okay to, they can get away with locking up random Muslims and hide them away and torture them and rendition and kidnap. But when it comes to 2 children, well, there's 3, but 2 are American citizens. When it comes to the kidnap and rendition of a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and putting them in prison and clamping them in chains, and the stories that these children have to tell is extraordinary.
Do you think that children of Dr. Aafia, they have been tortured as well? Do you have any information regarding that?
Without a doubt. And I do know that when their plight emerged, President Hamid Karzai, who as we know can be quite an emotional man, personally intervened in making sure that these children were returned to the family, because I think even he was appalled at just how low the US authorities, agencies have stooped in this case. And one thing that you can be sure of, this is not an isolated incident. Aafia Siddiqui represents the tip of a very, very dark iceberg.
Where is Dr. Aafia's third child, the youngest one?
Well, Ahmed Siddiqui was visited in prison by a US consular official from the American embassy in Kabul. He is the oldest one. He was 5 years old when he was taken. And during this meeting in prison, he was told who he was. The poor child had no idea of his own identity. He was told by this American consular official, your name is Ahmed Tahir Khan, you are the son of Aafia Siddiqui, and your baby brother is dead. Now, if the Americans had no involvement in her kidnapping, rendition and torture, how on earth would a simple consular official be able to tell this child, who was by this time 11, 12 years old, how on earth would they know that the baby Suleiman, who was 6 months old, had been killed? What Ahmed does remember, when the car was stopped and they were all grabbed, he remembers during the confusion seeing his baby brother on the road covered in blood. And that was his last memory, apart from his mother screaming, before a rag was put over his face and he passed out, because it had...
So let me go back a little bit.
When he woke up, he was surrounded by American soldiers.
Just a quick question, going back a little bit. The operation in which Dr. Aafia and her kids were picked up, what agencies were involved executing that operation?
We know from an eyewitness account and an affidavit that there were uniformed Pakistani police, plainclothes, possible ISI, and there was at least one American there, and that was a woman who slapped Aafia across the face and told her to shut up.
That was during the operation.
And by the way, that was in March 2003, that was the last time she saw her children.
So right now Ahmed and Mariam, her daughter, they have reached back to their families in Pakistan, but I have noticed, and generally people have noticed, that there have been no media appearances or no interviews, even couple of questions asked by any of them to the children. I don't know if they are not allowed to speak to the media. What is your information? Are they not allowed to speak to the media as part of the deal when they were handed back, or is that they are still under some trauma that they are not fully fit to speak to the media intelligently?
I think it's a combination of three things. I think one is these children have experienced things that no other children should experience in their lives, and they are traumatized. Aafia Siddiqui's sister, Dr. Faisal Siddiqui, is her speciality is mental issues. So she is more than capable of medically looking after the children, as well as as being a family guardian and physically. So the children are traumatized, and it's going to be a long, slow process. Some prisoners of war